Welcome to Dark Reflections, True Crime Unveiled. I'm James Mitchell. Tonight, we journey back to the early hours of February 17th, 1970, to a seemingly tranquil military housing unit at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The air, usually still with the quiet hum of a sleeping base, was pierced by a frantic 911 call. What followed would expose a scene of unspeakable horror, shattering the perception of a perfect military family and igniting a true crime saga that continues to captivate and divide.
And I'm Chloe Williams. That call, James, came from Captain Jeffrey MacDonald, a U.S. Army Green Beret doctor. He reported a terrifying home invasion, claiming a group of drug-crazed hippies had attacked his family. But when military police arrived at 544 Castle Drive, the truth they uncovered was far more complex and disturbing than any simple act of random violence. Inside, they found a massacre. Colette MacDonald, Jeffrey's pregnant wife, and their two young daughters, 5-year-old Kimberly and 2-year-old Kristen, brutally murdered. The scene was chaotic, violent, and deeply unsettling, immediately raising questions about MacDonald's extraordinary account.
Indeed, Chloe. Before that horrific night, the MacDonalds were, by all outward appearances, the epitome of the American dream. Jeffrey MacDonald, a Princeton graduate and a physician, was a rising star in the military, charismatic and intelligent. His wife, Colette, was beautiful and loving, dedicated to their two vibrant young girls. They lived on a military base, a community often seen as safe and insulated, a sanctuary from the outside world's troubles. This perception of security only deepened the shock and disbelief when the extent of the violence became known.
It's a classic setup for a true crime narrative, isn't it? The perfect family, the seemingly idyllic life, suddenly ripped apart by incomprehensible evil. The contrast between their public image and the gruesome reality found within their home created an immediate sense of intrigue and tragedy. People struggled to reconcile the image of Captain MacDonald, the hero doctor, with the devastating loss of his family. This dissonance, this shattering of a perceived reality, would become a central theme in the unfolding investigation, making everyone wonder, who were the MacDonalds really, and what truly happened in that house?
Jeffrey MacDonald's story was certainly vivid, if not fantastical. He claimed he was awoken by Colette's screams, fought off 4 intruders, 3 men and a woman, who chanted, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs." He described being beaten and stabbed, losing consciousness, only to wake and find his family murdered. He had visible, though superficial, injuries, a collapsed lung, stab wounds, and bruises. He maintained this account with unwavering consistency, even under intense questioning. His narrative was not just a defense, it was the foundation of his truth, a truth that would soon be rigorously challenged by the evidence.
But as investigators began to process the scene, cracks immediately appeared in MacDonald's version of events. The sheer brutality of the murders— Colette was stabbed 21 times, Kimberly 10 times, and Kristen 48 times, with both girls also beaten— seemed disproportionate to the hippie attack MacDonald described. Crucially, the military police found the scene unusually clean for such a violent struggle, and the supposed intruders had left no clear trace. The details MacDonald provided about his injuries and the locations of his family started to create a perplexing puzzle that didn't quite fit the pieces of evidence found inside the house.
The military's initial investigation, specifically the CID, or Criminal Investigation Division, was criticized for its sloppiness, with the scene potentially contaminated. However, forensic analysis, particularly by the FBI, later played a pivotal role. They discovered that a blue pajama top belonging to MacDonald was strategically placed over Colette's body. Furthermore, a scalpel found at the scene had no fingerprints, yet it was identified as one from MacDonald's medical kit. The ice pick, knife, and club used in the attacks were also traced to the MacDonald household. These items pointed to an intimate connection with the family, not random invaders.
And it wasn't just the weapons. Blood spatter patterns indicated that Colette and Kristen had been attacked in their beds, then moved. MacDonald's injuries, while present, were largely superficial and inconsistent with a desperate fight for survival against multiple assailants. The famous pig inscription on the headboard, which MacDonald claimed was written by the intruders, was found to be smudged in a way that suggested it had been applied after the initial chaos. Every piece of forensic evidence seemed to systematically dismantle MacDonald's hippie narrative, constructing a chilling alternate theory where he was not a victim, but the perpetrator.
The investigation, though initially flawed, eventually led to charges against MacDonald. However, it was not a swift process. A military Article 32 hearing cleared him of the charges in 1970, citing insufficient evidence. This decision was largely due to lingering doubts and the persuasive nature of MacDonald's story. But the victim's family, particularly Colette's stepfather, Freddie Kassab, never believed MacDonald's innocence. Kassab, a retired military police officer, embarked on a relentless, almost obsessive quest for justice, meticulously poring over evidence and advocating for a civilian trial. His unwavering determination ultimately ensured the case would not fade into obscurity.
Kassab's efforts were truly extraordinary, culminating in a federal grand jury indictment in 1975 and a trial commencing in 1979. The prosecution, led by James Blackburn, presented a compelling case built on forensic evidence and the inconsistencies in MacDonald's story. They argued that MacDonald, under the influence of amphetamines and possibly frustrated by his marriage, had lashed out violently. The defense, meanwhile, steadfastly maintained MacDonald's innocence, reiterating the hippie invasion and painting him as a grieving husband and father. The trial was highly publicized, filled with dramatic testimony and conflicting interpretations of the forensic details, captivating the nation's attention.
After a 6-week trial, the jury deliberated for less than 6 hours before returning a guilty verdict. Jeffrey MacDonald was convicted of 1 count of first-degree murder in Colette's death and 2 counts of second-degree murder for the deaths of his daughters, Kimberly and Kristen. He was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms. Despite numerous appeals and decades of legal battles, MacDonald remains incarcerated, still proclaiming his innocence. His story has spawned books, a miniseries, and countless debates within the true crime community. The question of whether justice was truly served, or if an innocent man was wrongly convicted, persists.
The MacDonald case is a chilling example of how the darker aspects of human psychology can manifest, shattering lives and leaving behind a legacy of unresolved anguish. It highlights the complexities of forensic science, the fallibility of eyewitness accounts, and the profound impact of betrayal, whether real or perceived. For the true crime enthusiast, it's a foundational study in motive, evidence, and the relentless pursuit of truth. The profound motivations behind heinous acts and the lasting societal impacts are starkly reflected in the enduring shadows of the MacDonald murders. Join us next time on Dark Reflections as we uncover another layer of human darkness.